No, I think electric cars are very much in America's future.
NIO is closing up on $40. The day of this video, November 11th, is another day of all-time highs for the stock, and it is right now at $39.46 a share, so close to that $40 mark. Who knows how much further this crazy rally will go? Let's look at a collection of different NIO price targets and predictions from various analysts, and also understand the quite recent craze investors have had about EV stocks and why I think this rally we have had is now quite justified. Let's also look at whether or not I think buying NIO at this current level at $40 is a good idea or not. If you're new here, my name is Sam and welcome to the channel. If you found this valuable, make sure to press that like button. It is great feedback for me so I can provide even better videos, and it helps out the channel big time. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. We're a fast growing channel and I would love to have you on the journey with me. Now back to NIO. So as you all know, NIO is doing very well right now and we are getting a bunch of new investors on the train. Just as a very quick recap, they have been posting record deliveries, strong financial reports for a growth company of course, and they are now making the plans to expand to Europe more clear. We're also seeing more and more professional analysts jumping on the NIO train and setting higher price targets for the stock. Analysts that are from reputable institutions such as JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley and Deutsche Bank. But we will look at the various forecasts of NIO later in the video. But let's try to understand just why NIO and other EV companies such as XPeng, Tesla of course, and even Hyliion and Workhorse have been doing so well right now. Of course, Hyliion and Workhorse have gone down a bit these last months, but Hyliion has still doubled and Workhorse has still gone up 8 times in value from the beginning of the year. So my point still stands. Electric vehicle investors remember when Tesla marched past one rival after another in terms of market capitalization as Elon Musk's company headed towards dominance among the automotive stocks. And now NIO is performing quite a similar feats. It is now worth more than $50 billion after this recent rally we've seen, which makes NIO worth roughly the same as the 100-year-old car maker General Motors or GM. But this just shows us that investors have become convinced that EVs are the future of the car business. They are willing to pay up for the EV startups and they still have concerns about traditional car makers' abilities to transition to a battery-powered paradigm. The conviction is huge right now. You see, General Motors' annual net income for 2019 was $6.58 billion, while NIO's income was $0, and it is still expected to stay that way at least for these coming quarters. So why are these companies almost worth the same right now, despite having such a big discrepancy in the earnings? It's very simple. The market believes that General Motors are on the way out and will be replaced by the likes of NIO. I definitely think there's a truth to this, and we only need to look at the fact that the 2019 earnings of General Motors was a 16.86% decline from 2018. To just realize that they are forced to adapt and innovate to avoid slowly disappearing from the automaker market. And the investors agree with me. They see no crazy potential in General Motors in the same way as they do in NIO. General Motors was actually worth more as a company 10 years ago than it is today. And just contrast this to NIO shares that are up 73% over the past month and 850% almost year to date. These returns aren't remotely comparable to those of indexes like the S&P 500 and Dow Jones Industrial Average. They're also beating Tesla's returns, which has been trading almost sideways the past month. Tesla stock, of course, is still up 400% year to date, and it has a market value of about $400 billion, which is larger than any other global automaker by far. Just a year ago, Tesla's market capitalization was about $57 billion, which is just a bit above GM's $54 billion they were valued at that time. But now Tesla is worth more than Toyota Motor, Volkswagen and GM combined. While NIO's market capitalization is about $53 billion right now, which is just about $1 billion more than GM's is, which makes it larger than GM and also larger than Ford Motors and Fiat Chrysler. And all this is just so baffling to traditional auto investors for one simple reason, and that is the size. NIO on a run rate basis is delivering about 60,000 vehicles a year, While Tesla is delivering about 600,000 vehicles a year, GM is running at 7 million vehicles a year. To understand this further, we can look at how much the stock is worth compared to how many vehicles they have sold. That makes NIO worth roughly $867,000 per vehicle sold, while Tesla is valued at about $667,000 per vehicle sold, and GM is at less than $1,000 per car or truck sold. And again, this big gap speaks to how investors feel about electric vehicles. But Wall Street agrees. In general terms, even if analysts have doubts about the stock's valuations, the average target for Tesla stock price implies a value for the company of roughly $330 billion, which is below the current figure but still more than any other automaker, regardless of size. The average analyst price target values NIO stock for a lot still more than Ford's total, for example. And that takes us to the analyst forecast. I always talk about a couple price target updates from analysts because they are constantly coming in and because I think there's a big explaining factor of this recent NIO rally. But let's look at the biggest collection of forecasts I know from the CNN money page of NIO. There are 17 analysts from various institutions that are right now offering 12-month price forecasts for NIO, and they have median targets of $155.8, with a high estimate of $310.32 and a low estimate of $44.12. The median estimate still represents an almost 300% increase from the current prices, and obviously this makes the current consensus among these analysts to buy NIO stock. It is quite rare that I even see the low price target estimates of the stock implying a 12% potential upside. So these people who are analyzing these stocks professionally really seem to like NIO right now. But with that said, is now a good time to buy? As I said in my last video, I am going to hold and wait for a possible pullback. Either the pullback doesn't come for a very long time and the stock just keeps going up, in which case I am very happy since I own a lot of stock. Or we see a correction in NIO and I can use that as a buying opportunity to buy some more shares at cheaper prices. If you have no shares of NIO right now though, and you have done your research and decided that you want to invest in the company, I see nothing wrong with buying some shares right now. In the comment section of my last video, someone made a very good point though that I want to emphasize. Don't be FOMOing into the stock, meaning just buying something because you were scared that it might go up more and that you might miss out on this capital appreciation. When buying a stock this way, investors usually have not cared to actually research and understand the company, which usually leads to them selling it off the second the stock starts going down, which almost always results in disappointment and losing your hard-earned money in the market. So friends, do your research and make sure you own a bunch of other stock. Be well diversified and in it for the longer term, and I don't see a couple percent of NIO going up or down mattering too much in a couple of years. I definitely think it is a worthwhile investment right now. And with that, I want to conclude today's video. This is almost becoming a NIO channel at this point, but I love to update you fellow investors when there are drastic things happening to a stock, and I honestly just really enjoy talking about NIO right now. With that said, if you enjoyed this one, make sure to give it a like to help us reach out to more people regarding NIO and educate them about the case of the stock and the pros and cons of it. A simple thing as just pressing that thumbs up button really does help. Also subscribe if you want to see more similar content, and I will make sure to provide more updates for you. This is a fast-growing community and I love to have you on the journey with me to 1,000 subscribers. I'd be so happy if we can get there within this year. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.